Well, we got an air compressor out here. Eli's gonna get dressed up. It's gonna be muddy. We're going to transplant this little hackberry. Just a little thing we're gonna do. The client thought, this is a nice tree, can we move it? Like, well, in the fall we probably can. So we're gonna air spade it out, pop it out of the ground. We got nice moist ground, so that's gonna work. And then we're gonna put it in a spot down here. They were gonna remove these box elders, they didn't. But we can kind of place it in between. It'll grow nice and straight between those, and we can still remove those later without damaging this. So we're gonna transplant this little bugger. It's gonna be fun today. Game of trees, we're having fun. In the mud.
In the mud, I'm already covered.
All right, so here's our initial blowout. We've got 4 main buttress roots. And so we can chase these longer ones out and get to their ends, and we'll be able to pop this right out of the ground. We might have a taproot going down there, and we can probably prune that off. This is another stump from something else. So it's not even budging yet. So, all right, so remember back in grade school, they said, oh, the tree underground is basically the same as a tree above ground. Well, that's not true. And a tree that naturally grows like this one did, notice the top of the root. There's no branches coming up. All of the anchor roots are orientated down. That's called geotropism. But in a lot of nursery trees where the whole root system is messed up from the process, the roots are buried deep in the root ball, and they have a tendency to come to the surface, and it changes their whole way of growing. And so with legacy trees, we're actually getting this type of structure in our nursery trees so that they're off to a good start. All right, we got this out of the ground, and you can see, look at the taproot. You know, everybody thinks the taproot grows forever, and if it was a hickory, in truth, a walnut, it might be a lot deeper than that. But this one panned out pretty early in the process. This is a hackberry, and so we salvaged most of that taproot, and we salvaged a lot of fine roots. We had to prune. We just got impatient. So we pruned a bunch of these roots, but we have a lot of good structure it's gonna sprout. You know, I would imagine this is gonna sprout next year as it goes. So we'll get this in the ground at a good orientation, we'll stake it, and it'll probably lock down pretty good next year. Kevin got it.
I didn't get impatient.
Let's get this thing out of the ground. I gotta plug in my phone. All right, here's our finished product. Good 3-inch caliper hackberry. We air spaded that out. Hand dug this out. We just used spades and dug it out according to the orientation of the roots. We got that in there, got it at the right level. Backfilled with some biochar and native soil. They've got very rich soil here, so this should root out pretty quickly next year. We can probably take these stakes off next year. It'll probably be all locked in there. We had quite a few fine roots, and little spurs that will branch out into fine roots, and this will be well established. All right, Game of Trees. We are having fun. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Summer heat and tundra cold and throwing a storm of three. Stakes are high, there's always a risk when you're playing the game of trees.